Hi, my name is Jeff, also known as Otaku Jedi, and this is my spoiler-free review of the first 2 episodes of the Ahsoka series for the Temple of Geek. As a Star Wars fan, you're going to love it, especially because all of the shows in the series are like all lining up together. You're going to love it. And as a Rebels fan, you are going to absolutely love it. However, even if you don't follow Star Wars or even watch Star Wars Rebels, you can still follow along with the series. You simply need to know that the center of the series is Master and Apprentice. For example, for the non-Star Wars fans, you just need to know that the series is going to be about a teacher who's struggling on how to be a teacher, especially because when she left the Jedi Order, they didn't teach her everything. Ahsoka being a force-wielding ex-Jedi as the teacher, and Sabine Wren, who is a character from Rebels, being that new Jedi to take on the role of Padawan. The first 2 episodes give the viewer a sensation of being back in that Star Wars world, after the fall of the Empire, kind of along the lines of the Mandalorian era. And though there's no Grogu, they do have a lot of other characters that make appearances from Star Wars Rebels, including the talk of Grand Admiral Thrawn, which is one of the underlining villains in not just the Ahsoka series, but also Rebels. However, he isn't the only villain in this series. There's an introduction of new villain, Baylan Skrull, who was played by the late Ray Stevens, and his apprentice, Shin Hati. And like it was stated before, the central theme of the entire series is Master and Apprentice, and Baylan is the Master, and Shin is the Apprentice. So not only do you have the light side versus the dark side, you also have the Republic versus the Empire. Now, in the 2 episodes, there were really 2 people who stood out to me. One was obviously Rosario Dawson in her continued portrayal of Ahsoka Tano. She definitely gives off that I'm one with the Force vibe, that I'm cool, calm, and collect, but I will show you what kind of boss lady I am. And even though we meet Ahsoka in Star Wars Clone Wars, the Ahsoka Tano that we have in Rebels is a little bit more mature and more in tune with the Force. Her look and her feel seems so genuine, and the chemistry that she has with the other characters just seems like they took all of those people out of Rebels and made them into live action. The way Rosario Dawson has grown into the character of Ahsoka, though we only saw her a couple of times in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, is just extremely impressive in how well it has translated over to the series. Now, the other one, and probably my favorite, is Natasha Leo Bordizzo in her portrayal of Sabine Wren. Natasha has literally slid into the character of Sabine Wren. From the second she showed up on the screen, it was clear and cut that this was Sabine Wren, no question. Obviously, the trailers let us know, but the way she was composed, the way she presented herself, everything about her demeanor spoke as Sabine Wren. Sabine is one of the main characters of Star Wars Rebels, and she was always very assertive and very strong. And in the Ahsoka series, though she still is strong and assertive, we see a side of her that seems with a sense of loss without her Rebels family post the war, because they've all found things to do and she doesn't know what to do. The visuals, in my opinion, were really well done. In the very first episode, they incorporated something that actually put a smile on my face because I don't think we've seen it in a while. Kevin Kiner comes back to compose the scores for Ahsoka, and it did not disappoint. Everything from the music of the battles to even little tiny quirky things just worked really, really well and was really well put together. It's no surprise since he did the music for Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi. So he's been around Ahsoka for a while. Now, if you do maybe want to learn a little bit about Star Wars Rebels and prepare for the Ahsoka series, here are a whole bunch of episodes that you should watch. These episodes give you a general basis of all of the characters, as well as to when Ahsoka shows up, and one of the main villains. The series is set to have 8 episodes, and as a Star Wars fan, I am really excited to see how the whole thing plays out. Between the fights, the lore, and the way the world worked within those 2 episodes instantly pulled me back. Not just into the world of Star Wars, but into the world of the Rebels crew.
War is inevitable. One must destroy in order to create. We are no Jedi.
I started hearing whispers of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
What happens when we find Thrawn?
Power, such as you've never dreamed.
I've spent most of my life fighting a war. That's why I'm trying to convince you to help me prevent another one.
You and I both know who could help you with this.
She's still just as stubborn as ever.
I bet your master found you difficult at times.
Anakin never got to finish my training. I walked away from him, just like I walked away from Sabine.
You never made things easy for me, Master.
As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can. But I'm counting on you to see this through.
Nice haircut. Sometimes we have to do what's right, regardless of our personal feelings.
Buckle up.
If we don't stop Thrawn, everything will be in vain. You have no power.
Anakin spoke highly of you.
I'm not here to discuss my past.
We have a lot of work to do.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
Always two there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
Star Wars always has these great master-apprentice relationships.
Remember, a Jedi can feel the Force flowing through him.
It's very much the idea of apprenticeship. The need for those two groups to come together in order to pass down the knowledge and to help save the world. In the case of Star Wars.
When I left you, I was but a learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
All of that wisdom gets passed down over those generations. We have Qui-Gon Jinn, who's the master of Obi-Wan, who's the master of Anakin Skywalker. And by being trained by Anakin, Ahsoka was part of that legacy as well.
Ahsoka is a character that Dave Filoni created and worked with George Lucas on in the Clone Wars.
Originally, we didn't know exactly what the Clone Wars was going to be, and there was a Jedi and there was a Padawan, and thought we'll put them on adventures, but George had other ideas. He says, well, let's give Anakin Skywalker a Padawan. And I was like, Anakin doesn't have Padawan. And he just looked at me and said, Anakin has a Padawan. And that was basically it. That's how Ahsoka came about.
We cast Ashley Eckstein to be the voice of the character.
And she's fantastic in the Clone Wars and Rebels.
For a character that has such depth and complexity, to bring that to live action made a tremendous amount of sense.
Rosario Dawson is such an incredibly powerful actress, and she loves this character.
I'm playing someone who is an absolute expert. I really wanted to be able to physicalize that as much as possible.
There need to be a lot of lightsaber fights, and they have to be good, because our fans know the difference.
No matter how tired I was like, sign me up for some more. Sign me up for some more.
When you step into Star Wars, you are part of a legacy, and we had to uphold that history and yet do this completely new and different thing. From the beginning of this series, Ahsoka is out there on the fringe of the galaxy. When she hears whispers of this warlord's return, she decides to enlist her friends' help.
This is about preventing another war.
You know who could help?
Sabine Wren.
I'm not sure she'll want to help.
I'm telling the story about this mentor-student relationship that passes from Anakin to Ahsoka to Sabine.
There is nothing easy about being a Jedi.
It's quite extraordinary. Bring this to life.
When the stakes are this high, we have to do what's right.